Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to this reading today. This is messages from your animal spirit guides. I'm so excited to share this one with you. I really connect with animal spirit guides, so this is something I've been wanting to do for ages. So this pick a card reading has 4 piles. There's pile 1, which has honey calcite, pile 2, which is rhodochrosite, pile 3, which is tiger's eye, and pile 4 is desert rose. Now, as I always say, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and then open your eyes, and which pile you're immediately drawn to is usually the pile for you. Equally, if you have other ways of picking your pile, stick with what you know. This is just for advice. But once you've picked your pile, click your timestamp below and I will see you at your reading. Hello, pile 1, honey calcite group. If you pick this group, honey calcite is such a beautiful, happy solar plexus crystal. I adore this crystal actually to work with at the moment because I'm doing some solar plexus work. So if you're drawn to this, it might be a sign that the solar plexus is something that you need to work on as well. But going into your reading, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this is a deck, the Spiritsong Tarot, which is the tarot deck but with animals on. So I'm going to pull one of these for you now. Okay, ooh, you have the Magician, which is the crow or the raven. Now, this crow or raven is coming in to signal law of attraction manifestation. So this is what this reading is going to be about for you today, is kind of this sign of you have the ultimate power to manifest what you desire, which is a really positive reading to kickstart the day. The messages I'm getting from this crow, I'm very, very drawn to the yellow on this card, which links with the solar plexus chakra, which is what I was talking about briefly before. And I think that obviously there's a reason this is coming to me, and I think that the solar plexus is about sort of your sense of self, your identity, and I wonder if the crow is here to remind you to reconnect with who you really are. And there's something about who you really are and your power to manifest. So either you're blocking your power to manifest because you've disconnected from your sort of inner truth, or you've lost some confidence, and you kind of have you've lost touch with your intuition, your gut feeling. So the solar plexus is kind of above your belly button, kind of where your rib cage finishes in the middle, and it could be that you've got like indigestion as well. I'm getting that like quite strongly too. But this crow is coming into your life to talk about manifestation and your power, but also maybe you're lacking confidence and your sort of lack of sense of self at the moment. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to pull 4 more cards. So I'm going to pull them above, below and side to side. So the left-hand side card will be the past, the right-hand side card will be the future. The top is what you are aware of currently, and then below is what you're unconsciously aware of. And I think with the crow, this will be about blockages to manifestation and just some guidance about this. So let's see what tarot comes out. Oh, okay. So in the past position, you have Judgment in reverse. In the future position, you have the Ace of Swords. Brilliant. In the conscious position, you have the 10 of Swords in reverse, which is exactly what I was talking about with this sort of loss of confidence. And then in your unconscious position, you have the 3 of Cups in reverse. So I will start with Judgment. I think you've been judging yourself too harshly. I find Judgment a really odd card in readings because it comes up with completely different meanings. But in this context, about sort of your law of attraction, you've completely lost faith in your own judgment in the past. Maybe you've made the wrong judgment. I'm getting a message about love here too. Maybe something's gone wrong in love and you're now like sort of you're reminiscing and thinking, oh, why didn't I spot that? And it's making you not trust yourself, not trust your judgment of people, which is really no wonder you've got solar plexus stuff going on and sort of sense of self-confidence issues, because when we lose the sort of faith in our own judgment, that can sometimes spiral into a complete loss of faith in ourselves. And yeah, this makes perfect sense with the kind of reading that I had at the beginning, that intuitive reading about the crow. But this is telling you that this is in the past. So this is you're either ruminating on this or it's really behind you. This sort of loss of faith in your own judgment. And then you have the Ace of Swords in the future position, which is such a fantastic sign. So the Ace of Swords is about manifesting a new idea. It's new intellectual ideas. It's kind of breaking free from these intellectual prisons that you've been in, and you're going to get your confidence back. And there's going to be this lovely, I'm really drawn to the crown actually on this sword, and I'm kind of channeling that this is about you. There's something about this idea, there's something about this thing that comes in, and it's very kind of rational. It's not necessarily a love connection, but something's going to come in which is going to completely boost your confidence. Maybe you're going to be right about your judgment of a person in the past. Maybe it's actually going to come out that, oh no, you were right. So you think you've lost faith in your judgment, but actually like you're going to have proof soon that your judgment is absolutely spot on. And it's going to make you feel like a king and a queen. Like you're going to feel like really proud of yourself, and it's going to kind of elevate you massively with this idea. So keep an eye out for new, and I nearly said ear out then. I feel like someone might tell you something. Keep an ear out and keep an eye out for sort of new news actually, and new opportunities that kind of really focus on giving you your confidence back. I don't think you have to do anything. This opportunity will come, and the kind of act of this thing coming into your life will definitely sort of elevate you and go, oh, okay, and you'll heal. But if at the same time you're working with your solar plexus chakra, you're kind of drawing in lots of yellow to your life, you're working on your sort of sense of self, this sort of news that you hear will be really, really, really transformative. It's lovely. And this links with what's conscious to you right now. So you have the Ten of Swords in reverse. So you are quite beaten and battered and bruised. So the Ten of Swords upright is very... It's kind of like you're broken down to your core. It's very much like the end of a cycle that was quite negative, and you're just really tired. Whereas this is, because it's reversed, and in this position, I think you're really constrained. You feel battered and bruised, but it's of your own making. So it's about things that are... imaginary is not the right word, but it's kind of, you're completely like overwhelmed by your own thoughts. It's not that you've had actual events that have broken you, but it's the thoughts related to the events that are kind of paralysing you and making you feel tired, if that makes sense. But this also, when it's in the reverse position, I always see it as like the swords are falling out of the person. So what's going to happen is related to this judgment of yourself, these sort of thoughts you've got of yourself, and the swords are going to fall out of you. You're going to, with this Ace of Swords, and we're tapping into this solar plexus stuff and this new news, this new idea from the Ace of Swords, it's going to be a really quite dramatic release of these swords, this sort of narrative that you're telling yourself, this sort of almost torture that you're doing to yourself in your own mind is going to you're going to be free quite dramatically. And you're unconscious, and this is the kind of key to what has been not necessarily causing the excessive thinking and excessive judgment that you've got to yourself, but it's exacerbating it. It's the Three of Cups in reverse. So the Three of Cups is a really sociable community card, and in reverse this tells me that you haven't had that and you really need it. So unconsciously you might not be realising that you're actually quite lonely, and I mean, given the circumstances in the world right now, it's no surprise that we're really missing sort of human connection and community. But what that does is it stops us being in our heads. So what's happened is, because you have been on your own, you're feeling quite lonely, your thoughts are kind of spiraling away with you. Like, I think it could be that the restrictions are sort of breaking, and you're able to go and connect with the community a bit better, is the news and is the gift of the Ace of Swords. But there's definitely a really strong message here about reconnection, and groups of people and feeling lonely. And this is unconscious, so it's something that you're not aware of, or you're aware of it but you don't understand the impact it's having on your mind and your sense of self. I think you've lost yourself recently, in this kind of spiraling of judging yourself, and it's really eaten its way at your solar plexus chakra, bless you. I should also say that if you see black birds, doesn't necessarily have to be crows or ravens, but if you see black birds, they will be a sign from spirit for you over the next sort of few weeks or months, if it resonates. So this tends to happen. You may not actually see the birds physically, but they might come up, I don't know, on telly or in imagery. And this is a sign usually that your spirit guides and this animal guide, this crow or raven, is looking after you. But it's also a sign that you might be slipping back into these thoughts and mindsets. And it's just a reminder of like, you need to be confident because you're awesome, and keep an eye out for this new news, this new thing from the Ace of Swords. Okay, I'm going to pull some more tarot cards to clarify these a little bit more and see what else we get. Okay, yes, so on the Judgment card, you've got the 5 of Swords. On the 10 of Swords, you've got the 6 of Swords. And on the Ace of Swords, you've got the High Priestess in reverse. On the... sorry, this is so lovely. It's such a beautiful card, the Sun. You've got the Sun on the 3 of Cups in reverse. Now, what I was talking about, sort of being a really harsh critic of yourself, is in this picture of the 5 of Swords, it kind of emphasizes this loneliness and the kind of lack of connection, which is causing this really critical mindset you have with yourself. I also wonder if you're fixating on other people winning at your expense. There's a real judgment of maybe you've lost something, or maybe you've won something, but it feels really hollow because of the lack of connection in your unconscious. So on the 5 of Swords, you can see this person has obviously won. They've won the fight. They've won the swords, but the people are walking away, and then they're kind of just not bothered. And it can be, sometimes we can win. Sometimes when we do sparkle, maybe this is why you're limiting your self-confidence and you're limiting your solar plexus, is because when we do sparkle, other people don't like it. They can get envious, and maybe you're sort of missing connection with people, but you're trying to be a people pleaser. And this is saying that actually you need to be more confident in yourself, and you need to kind of put yourself first. So this inner critic that you've got is doing you no good. And maybe some of the things that you're telling yourself with this inner critic and judging yourself have come from other people who are just envious of you. And you need to disentangle what is yours and what's other people's. So I think there's a real strong influence here that you've actually absorbed things that other people have said and that aren't true. Or you're being very influenced or manipulated by other people because they don't like you succeeding. It's quite mean, that, isn't it? It's quite mean-spirited. But that's in the past position, so this is stuff that you need to heal and move on from. So you have the 6 of Swords over the 10 of Swords, and the 6 of Swords is about moving on from something that sometimes is quite difficult, and that's exactly what I was talking about, sort of the end of a cycle. You are consciously trying to move on from these thoughts. So maybe you are actually doing some solar plexus work, maybe you're exploring things with a therapist, maybe you're doing some journaling. There's just something going on where you are trying to move on from these thought patterns that you have, and that's really good. Is that you want to move on, because it's very difficult to heal if you're not aware of what you've been through, but also not aware of your need to kind of put some things behind you. And then in the future position, so this gift that you've got from the Ace of Swords, the High Priestess is all about intuition. So the figure on the High Priestess is blind, and she completely navigates the world through her intuition with her eyes closed. But she's in reverse, so this is a sign that whatever this news is, it isn't a spiritual thing, it's not intuitive, it's very, very hyper rational. This is just emphasizing that this is a very swords message. So it's rational, it's intellectual, it's news, it's verbal, it's not a spiritual thing that's going to come and help your self-confidence. It really is like a very tangible, might be somebody complimenting you, as simple as that, but it's not connected to kind of a spiritual side of yourself. So when you are looking for this new thing with the Ace of Swords, keep an eye out for the rational and the real and the intellectual gifts and news you might hear. And then finally, the Sun is just the most joyous card in the deck, and this it's talking about your unconscious. So actually, you are a really joyous person. There's a lot of joy inside you, but your brain and your swords, are getting in the way. Your intellectual side is kind of dominant right now. And what the sun is telling me is that actually, very simply, your reconnection with communities and with people, I don't think you're aware of just how much it's going to bring out the solar plexus. I mean, you've got the sun on this card, which is yellow, it's solar plexus, it's just joy. And you're going to get this really strong sense of absolute pure joy when you start meeting people and reconnecting with people. So that's a huge piece of advice from your crow raven spirit guide, that to manifest you need to find your joy, and that joy is through other people. But also you're going to be going through kind of a hyper rational dealing with your thoughts thing going on as well. But your unconscious is the joy you seek is from reconnecting with people. Now I'm going to pull some more cards. These are chakra cards, so they all correspond to a chakra, but they're quite good at corresponding to events in our lives. And I'm going to pull 4 of them that correspond to each pile. So let's see what those say. Oh, okay. Right. So I work clockwise. So I'm going to start with completion. So completion, it links to the right. So each card will link kind of to the right. So completion links to the 10 of Swords in reverse and the 6 of Swords. Exactly. I don't think I need to tell you anything about this, because this really is like the 10 of Swords moving on. You're completing a cycle. There's something that's finishing. And this sort of self-judgment, this criticism is very near completion. This is a sacral chakra card. So this is quite exactly what I said, a grounded, rational, in the real world energy. So it's actually telling you that you need to pull yourself out of your thoughts. So what I've said before is, when I interpreted the 10 of Swords in reverse, this is sort of battles you've been through internally. And the completion is saying you're very nearly there with sort of dealing with this, but you need to pull your energy down to your sacral chakra, which is below your solar plexus chakra, but just below, like an inch below your belly button. You need to pull your energy down out of your head. And then you've got growth on the Ace of Swords, which is so fantastic. And this is a heart chakra card. So this is about growth in your heart. It's exactly what I was saying about healing. There's a real sense of healing and self-love coming through of this news that you're going to get. So although it's a kind of rational news, you are going to really heal from it. I really like this. It's quite simple. Like it's a non-spiritual growth, I guess. Or it could be interpreted as a kind of, you're so in your head, you're not spiritual. So the High Priestess is saying you need to spiritually grow to make the most of this opportunity as well. So it could be read like that for some people. And then you have abundance with the Sun and the 3 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, so this is a really fantastic message that... and it's solar plexus chakra. So all the solar plexus colours are kind of strongly coming through from your unconscious. But you are very, very close. If you're trying to manifest money, the key is connection and finding joy. So this is about really, like, it goes beyond gratitude. It's like just absolutely childlike, unbridled joy is your key to unlocking the manifestation of money and abundance that you've been looking for. And then you've got impartiality, which links to the 5 of Swords and the Judgment card. Yes, it's telling you to stop judging yourself. You need to be impartial. You need to kind of step back at the situations in the past. And it's kind of what I was saying about people. You're taking on other people's judgments of you as kind of truth. But actually, you need to be impartial. Step back and go, hang on, like... are you just saying this because you're envious of me? And what this is, no wonder, this makes so much sense. No wonder you've got sacral chakra issues if you're believing envious people of you. They're trying to squish you. They're trying to squish your confidence and your self-esteem. They're really trying to mess with your sense of self so you're not as sparkly. And this reading is saying that you're actually going to attract huge abundance through being sparkly. And you need to be impartial and be really... critical of other people's messages to you about who you are. So just be a bit wary of that. Okay, I'm going to have one more oracle card for you and see what this says. Oh, this is lovely. So it says, true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. Yes. Yes, you've been really triggered mentally in your head by other people, by this sort of envy with... Yeah, you've just had a bit of a rough time, and it's saying what lives below the surface. So you're allowed to feel abundant, you're allowed to feel joy, and you're just not letting yourself because you're worried about other people being envious. You've already got the stuff, you've already got the success, but you're holding yourself back, and this is sort of giving yourself permission to feel that joy, to be proud of yourself. It is not arrogant or cocky to be proud of your achievements and to let yourself sparkle. If other people don't like it, then maybe they're not the right people for you. Sometimes if it's family, for example, you can't leave them, but just try and feel love and kindness to people who kind of don't like your sparkle. Anyone who's trying to put you down is only doing it because of their own insecurities, and you're triggering them, they're triggering you. And actually, if you look at what's going on below the surface, it's because everybody's really insecure, isn't it? And it's because there seems to be a power dynamic here with you and other people of you're succeeding and then they're putting you down. So you're putting yourself down and then they feel bad. And there's a real sort of sense of you're all insecure together. Whereas actually, if you are the leader, if you sparkle, because of your abundance, because of just who you are, this lovely sunny person that you are, if you sparkle and set an example and show other people that it's okay to be sparkly, I think that this actually could be one of your life's purposes. But keep an eye out for whatever's coming, what rational news is coming. I'd be really intrigued to hear what that is. Thank you so much for listening to this reading today. Your blackbirds, so crows and ravens and blackbirds, is sort of a sign from the universe for you over the next weeks or months. Keep an eye out for those. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. If you do like my readings, I have an assortment of readings previously, but I also have lots more coming up, so subscribe and you will be notified of those. I hope you have an absolutely magical day, Pile 1. Goodbye. Hello, Pile 2 Rhodochrosite group. Really happy to have you here. So this is Rhodochrosite is a crystal usually for heart chakra stuff, but sometimes quite tough heart chakra stuff. So it's got sort of flecks of black in it. So it's about healing and grounding heart chakra stuff. So if you've picked this, it might be that you're trying to heal something, but also that you might have a love question. So that's just one of the first impressions. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a Spiritsong tarot card for you. Now these are tarot cards, but they have animals on them. So let's see which animal is trying to give you some advice and guide you at the moment. Okay, so you have the starfish, which are just such a beautiful card. But this corresponds to the Eight of Cups. Yeah, exactly what I was saying about love and healing. Like the Eight of Cups is sort of someone on the traditional tarot, someone walking away from things, and this card in particular is about perseverance. So this starfish is trying to guide you through a period of hardship, or it's trying to help you heal from a previous period of hardship. Starfish obviously are water animals, but they're very resilient. So the starfish, I don't know if you know this, but they can lose one of their arms and they grow a new one back. So this is like you may have lost one of your arms, but you can grow it back, you can heal. And this is a really supportive animal for healing, for heart chakra healing, which is perfectly aligned with this crystal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you as well. So I'm going to position these in a cross around the central card, which is the starfish. So the card on the left is your past, the card on the right is your future, the card at the top is what you're consciously aware of right now, and the card below it is what you're unconsciously aware of. And let's see what this starfish is telling you. Okay, so in the past you have the Five of Pentacles. In the future you have the Two of Cups. Lovely. In the conscious, you have the Four of Wands in reverse, and in the unconscious you have the Three of Wands upright. That's interesting that they've come out together. as unconscious and conscious. But I'll start with the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of hurt here, but feeling left out in the cold. And I wonder if it's in a love relationship. Maybe you were dumped. Maybe there's something just didn't go right. It could be, there could also be career. There's just something where you felt really like you didn't have enough, and it was very tangible, but actually you probably could have gotten yourself out of the situation that you were in if you just lift your head up. So the imagery on this card that's really striking is that these men are homeless, but they're not looking at the church behind them where there's solace, there's warmth, and there's light, and that's where the pentacles are. So this is a sign that maybe you weren't looking at areas where you could have sought help and solace in the past. And then in your future, you've got the Two of Cups. So this is about new relationships. And I wonder if it's you wanting a new relationship. So this is, I do think this could be a love question, or the Starfish is coming to heal relationships and love. And the Two of Cups is very, I'm very, 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 very drawn to the image of the lion above the Two of Cups. So this makes me wonder if it's something to do with a Leo in your future, or this is about strength. So I'm also getting that this Strength Major Arcana card is coming through quite strongly as well. So this is about strength and new relationships, new divine relationships in your future. So digging a bit more deeply into this, your conscious is the Four of Wands in reverse, which means you're really want some validation, some sort of public recognition. Oh, I wonder if you wanted someone to make you Facebook official or Instagram official and they didn't. You didn't have anybody giving you the public validation of love. I think you want these sort of real public expressions of adoration. But unconsciously, what the Three of Wands is saying is actually this relationship, that it was about to get there, or it is going to get there. You are going to get this public commitment. It might be, I'm watching Love Island in the UK at the moment, and it feels like you're about to sort of be boyfriend and girlfriend, or be like official, but you're not quite there yet, and it's making you feel a bit alone. It's making you feel a bit like left out in the cold because you're just in this place of uncertainty, and that can be quite heartbreaking. But what this is telling you is that's coming. So the Three of Wands is sort of looking at what you've built up. So you've built up this relationship with someone, and actually you're unconsciously not looking at it. Your unconscious knows that actually you've got really quite a strong foundation here, and there's something going on that's actually really positive, but it's unconscious to you. You're ignoring it, and you want the public display. It could be like you want to be proposed to as well, and it hasn't happened, and you're feeling like, do they actually want me? But yes, or it's something like you haven't matched with that many people on a dating site, or the people that you've messaged on dating site haven't replied. You want this sort of public validation, but what you're missing is that if the dating site thing coming through is that you're focusing on the people who haven't matched you, and you're missing out on all the people who are messaging you and want to connect that you're just throwing away. So there's kind of this needing to reframe what you look at in love. There's this needing to like actually step back and explore what you already have, because your unconscious knows you've actually got a really strong emotional basis. The Three of Wands is a lovely card, but you need to stop pushing for and seeking the external validation. It's a bit tricky because I wonder if this external validation, this need for external validation, comes from hurt. So I think maybe this is where the sort of Eight of Cups comes in, the Rhodochrosite comes in, is that actually you need more than you used to because of previous hurts, previous feelings of being out in the cold, means that you actually need way more romantic gestures and just external validation and kind of, you need the engagement more than you ever did before. For example, you need to be Facebook official or Instagram or TikTok official more than you ever did before because you've been hurt in the past. Bless you if that's you going through that. I know that feeling myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some clarifiers for you on these cards and see where we get. Ooh, okay. So you have the Two of Cups again. But this time it's coming out on the past. So this is saying that this is exactly what I was saying about not looking at the connections you did have on Tinder. This is, I think you were fixated on the connections that you didn't have in the past. So maybe there was someone you really fancied and they didn't fancy you back, or you had a relationship that didn't go well. And it meant that you were completely blinkered about the people who did like you in the past. So this is about resetting your heart chakra to be receptive to love. I feel like you've got so many walls up because of past hurts that it's stopping new connection now. And then you've got the Tower on the Two of Cups in the future position, which is exactly this. Like, I feel like this Tower is, you could ruin something in the future if you don't sort this out. This is quite a brutal kick up the arse of this starfish saying, look, you have been hurt in the past, you've had to walk away, you fell out in the cold, but if you don't deal with your heart chakra, your inner hurts, you're going to push people away, and you're going to have these Tower moments in relationships in the future if you don't address that you're hurt in the past. So this is absolutely a love reading for sure. How can it not be with Two of Cups up twice and sort of an Eight of Cups? But then again, you've got this, exactly what I was saying about the Four of Wands. You've got the Six of Wands in reverse, which is again about external validation, but it's kind of the next level. This is the sort of marriage, kids version of love. This is you really wanting other people. I feel like, are you trying to pursue relationships to piss someone off? To hurt an ex? Is there something going on here that actually you're gonna cause a Tower moment for someone else because you're in a relationship with them, not because you actually like them, because you're trying to hurt and get back at someone else? And this is where all this sort of external validation stuff is coming up, but it's in reverse. So it makes me wonder, you're desperately seeking it for the wrong reasons, especially when it comes to love. I think you've just got to tread a bit carefully here about other people's feelings, because although you've been hurt, there are other people involved in these relationships that you're involved in. And I think you need a kind of emotional reset to kind of explore and deal with these things. And then in your unconscious, bless you, look at the anxiety you're going through unconsciously, like your need for kind of winning and external validation comes from such deep anxiety. But that Nine of Swords is reversed, so the reverse Nine of Swords is not as bad as the upright Nine of Swords in this context. It's that you need to, these are not worries and stresses you're going through now. This is kind of a past stress or worry you've been going through, but I think you really need to reset. You really need to reset yourself, and you need to reset what you're fixated on about the past. That with the Five of Pentacles, you're stopping yourself from progressing because you're fixated on past hurts, but I think you're not thinking about who you might hurt in the future. Bless you. Heartbreak is quite a selfish emotion. Bear with me while I say this, because when you are in the absolute pits of despair and depression, you can't think about anybody else. You just cannot. When someone's walked away from you or you're walking away from them, you just cannot think about anybody else besides you and that person and your own hurt. And it's important because we have to go through it. But I think this is saying that actually your past is really holding you back, but you need to be more consciously aware of what you have at the moment, rather than fixating on what you don't have in terms of the external validation stuff. But also to be very careful not to be a tower for somebody else in the future because of your love. Don't use people, but also you could push someone away who you really like because you've been hurt in the past, and you need to kind of do the inner work to address this. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest message for you, I'm afraid. Like, it's I always get, this is a personal story, but I always get really like deflated and frustrated when I know I have to like go to a new therapist or go to have another set of therapy sessions to deal with a specific thing, because I just don't want to. It's really hard to deal with a new thing that comes up, but you kind of have to go, you have to push through, and you have to be brave to deal with like what's gone on in the past and how it links to your future. Especially that conscious, that desperate need for validation is something that you really need to yeah, you really need to do some work on that, and that's what the starfish is here to tell you. Okay, so I'm going to pull some more cards for you. So these are chakra oracle cards, but they're quite specific about what you need to be doing and what's going on. So I'll see what these say. Okay, so you have mysticism, despondence, prayer, and discovery. Interesting. So they correspond. I work clockwise, so I start with the one in the top left. And then, so mysticism corresponds with your need for external validation. So I think you need to be exploring your spiritual side to deal with your need for external validation, because if you're spiritually fulfilled and on a spiritual path, you can elevate yourself beyond needing that external stuff. But you also have despondence linking to the Tower and the Two of Cups, which means I think you're feeling really pessimistic and despondent about your future love. You're just anticipating this Tower event and it's blocking you. Oh, honey, big hugs. This is rough. Yeah, you're feeling really pants about your future with love, because you think it's always going to happen how it did in the past, and I am here to tell you that it's not. It's really, really not. I mean, look at that prayer card below it. So this is your unconscious. You need to pray. So I love, on the prayer card, it's related to your solar plexus chakra, and I should say this, your mysticism card and your despondence card are related to your third eye chakra. So your conscious is really, you really need to reconnect with your third eye and intuition. Well done for being on YouTube and watching YouTube tarot videos, because this is a really good way of start connecting. Maybe get yourself a deck as well and start learning how to read the cards for yourself, as a way of connecting, because I think it will really help you. But on the prayer card, I see this as like having lemonade in the Italian hills, and they also do a liquor called limoncello, which is one of my favorites, and it reminds me of that. Like, if you pray, you can get everything you ever wanted. You can have this really idyllic experience, but this is related to your unconscious. So this is related to your worries and your fears about your relationships, and what this is saying to you is you need to reset, and you need to firstly acknowledge what positive things you do have in your life about love, and that should help alleviate some of your stress and worries. But you need to kind of integrate into your life some sort of ritual of prayer. So you need to kind of, gratitude is just such a strong word. You need to start gratitude journaling. So prayer is sometimes a bit of a weird word, because it's used so commonly with sort of organized religion. And I'm not a part of an organized religion, but you might be, and this might be a sign that you need to pray more. But also it is about you can pray and not be part of a religion. You can sort of be grateful and thankful and ask the universe. It's kind of a law of attraction sign. So what this is saying is your unconscious, oh yeah, this is it, your unconscious is kind of attracting things without you realizing. But actually, if you do make this sort of prayer practice, this spirituality, the mysticism, which will help with your despondence, if you make this more conscious and integrate sort of prayer and law of attraction into your day-to-day life, you are going to elevate. You are going to be able to release yourself of these sort of worries and help noticing what you already do have, and that gratitude practice will help so much with your stress and anxiety, particularly about the future. And then you've got discovery, which links to your past. So this is a root chakra, so it's red, a root chakra card, which is the sort of most grounded chakra. And this is a sign that you need to go delving into your past to discover what patterns you already have. I'm actually reading up on a really interesting type of therapy, which is called cognitive analytic therapy, CAT for short. And this therapy is about, you spend the first 5 sessions talking about your past and trying to link what happened in your upbringing and what patterns are still in your life today. And it's basically, you draw lots of pictures and maps, and you kind of find links between the XYZ. I was bullied, for example, and that made me feel really alone. And then how that replays in your life today. So now you might be like, well, I don't like making friends because I was bullied. It's kind of like that. So it reminds me a lot of this discovery card, because you're discovering these how your past is influencing your present and trying to unravel it. And I think you need to do some of this, is actually sort of be really reflective. And I keep saying journaling because I love it, but productive journaling comes from using it to do some quite difficult things. So I think you need to look at your past relationships, look at your past hurts, look at your feelings, your kind of your shadow work, your shadow side. You need to do some shadow work and look at your past relationships, and they will help you discover what's going on in your future, and hopefully we can address your fears about tower moments in the future, my darlings. Oh, big hugs. I should always say about the starfish as well, like starfish are a sign for you now, that they're taking care of you. The starfish is a really loving, resilient animal, and they are here to help you through this difficult time and help you address those fears of kind of future love that you have. I'm going to pull one more oracle card and see what that says. Oh, what was I saying about like prayer and ritual and oh, bless you. So this says, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Oh, how nice is that? What was I talking about? Like trauma, past. Yes, so I think you need to kind of, this is mysticism and prayer together. You really need to kind of adopt some sort of spiritual sort of therapeutic practice to address your previous traumas, my love. I don't have, so a little bit of an insight into how I read. When I have a love reading where it's a really difficult situation and the future isn't looking so bright, I get this really heavy feeling in my shoulders, in my body, in my heart, and I kind of like punch them over and I lean forward. I don't have that with you. So in terms of like the future for love, I really don't think any of your fears are real. I don't think it's kind of all future relationships are going to be rubbish for you, my love. So just to let you pass on that little bit of good news, that I really don't think you have. So the future is bright. The future is that prayer card for you, honestly. And you've got the Two of Cups twice. This is and actually most of your cards, apart from the Tower and the Nine of Swords, are incredibly positive cards. So you really do have a positive love life coming up. But just try and address your previous traumas and integrate some sort of spiritual practice to heal what you've gone through. Thank you so much for listening and watching this reading today. I am so grateful that you're here with me, and I'm sending you big hugs for the journey you're about to go on. Please comment and email me if this resonates. I do really love to hear from you, and I know that sort of situations like this you might not want to publicly comment on a YouTube video, so my email address is in the description too. I try to get back to everybody who emails me, at least at the moment. I do quite a lot of love readings, so I've done a series on who your soulmate is, but I've also got some planned in the future, particularly around heartbreak. So if you are interested in that, please subscribe and you will get those in your feed when they come out. Once again, thank you so much, my lovelies. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Goodbye. Hello, lovely Pile 3 Tiger's Eye group. Welcome to this reading from your animal guides. I am so excited for this one. I don't know why, I've got a real sense of like joy and excitement for you. I'm not sure if you're feeling particularly sort of bouncy today, but yeah, there's a real sort of energy. Right, so the way this reading works is that I will draw a card from the Spiritsong tarot. Now this is a tarot deck, but they've all got animals on them, and the animal that comes up will be the animal who is trying to get through and speak to you and guide you today. I'm going to pull that card now and see what it says. Okay, so you have the kangaroo, which is the Two of Crystals. So this is the Two of Pentacles, which is, what did I say about bouncy? Oh, that's right. I know. I was going to say that's really creepy. I shouldn't say this because I'm a tarot reader, so this does happen. But it is. That's really strange. My intuition is obviously on point today, guys. Yes. So back to actually giving you the reading. The Two of Crystals is the Two of Pentacles. So this is the card of kind of juggling, of balance, of kind of of like movement and positivity in terms of work and career. Like the Two of Pentacles, I always see, and this is upright, so I always see it as a really, really positive card, that you've got lots of things up in the air, lots of things going on for you that's starting. So you're not at the beginning of a journey, but you're kind of getting stuck into lots of different tasks. And this could be a career reading, if this is a question that you've asked, but I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see what the other cards say. But you have the kangaroo. So kangaroos are really cute, and kind of bouncy, but they are incredibly powerful as well. So they have this sort of adorable exterior. They're kind of goofy, especially if you watch them eat. I find that really, really funny. And they're also kind of caring. So they take care of a joey in their pouch for a really long time. I think it's quite unusual for animals to carry their young like that for such a long period of time, apart from in marsupials. So they have this really dynamic spirit. They're cute and fluffy and adorable and caring. But you do not want to get kicked by a kangaroo, because they can break your leg. They are so powerful and can be very aggressive that I feel like there's a real like mothering spirit coming through. There's a real sort of sense of fun. There's a message of please have more fun, like bouncing fun, yay, this is great, sort of Two of Pentacles, things are going well. But also they are protecting you hugely. You've got a huge sense of protection. So if anyone hurts you or like goes for you in any way, your kangaroo spirit guide is ready to kick them. There's this real sense of protection, and I get this. I'm also getting a message that Archangel Michael is protecting you as well. If you're into archangels, I work with him a lot, and he is a really protective energy. So if you're in need of protection, if you're feeling a bit sort of attacked or vulnerable, do some meditation and try and ask Archangel Michael for help, but also ask your kangaroo for help, because they're ready to take on the battles for you. It's a really lovely message, and it reminds me of Tigger. Why Tigger was a tiger from Winnie the Pooh, I have no idea. He should have been a kangaroo. But it reminds me of that really joyous, bouncy, smiley. I'm smiling saying this because it's just such a lovely energy. So you've got a really dynamic animal spirit guide. They're also really freaking obvious. So if you have any weird things, if things fall over or you heard weird bangings, that will be your kangaroo spirit coming in. And you also might start seeing a lot of kangaroos, because there is no subtlety. The previous group had a starfish, and they are incredibly subtle, really sort of calming and healing energy, whereas the kangaroos like want you to know that they're there, for sure. So try and meditate with them, because they're really obvious and you should be able to work with them quite easily. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you. I'm going to pull 4, and I'm going to pull one to the left of your kangaroo card, which is about your past, one to the right, which is your future, one above, which is what you're consciously aware of, and one below, which is what you're unconsciously aware of. This is sort of half of a Celtic cross tarot spread, if you're interested. Okay, so let's see what you've got. Okay, so you have the kangaroo, which is the Two of Crystals. So this is the Two of Pentacles, which is, what did I say about bouncy? Oh, that's right. I know. I was going to say that's really creepy. I shouldn't say this because I'm a tarot reader, so this does happen. But it is. That's really strange. My intuition is obviously on point today, guys. Yes. So back to actually giving you the reading. The Two of Crystals is the Two of Pentacles. So this is the card of kind of juggling, of balance, of kind of like movement and positivity in terms of work and career. Like the Two of Pentacles, I always see, and this is upright, so I always see it as a really, really positive card, that you've got lots of things up in the air, lots of things going on for you that's starting. So you're not at the beginning of a journey, but you're kind of getting stuck into lots of different tasks. And this could be a career reading, if this is a question that you've asked, but I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see what the other cards say. But you have the kangaroo. So kangaroos are really cute, and kind of bouncy, but they are incredibly powerful as well. So they have this sort of adorable exterior. They're kind of goofy, especially if you watch them eat. I find that really, really funny. And they're also kind of caring, so they take care of a joey in their pouch for a really long time. I think it's quite unusual for animals to carry their young like that for such a long period of time, apart from in marsupials. So they have this really dynamic spirit. They're cute and fluffy and adorable and caring, but you do not want to get kicked by a kangaroo because they can break your leg. They are so powerful and can be very aggressive that I feel like there's a real like mothering spirit coming through. There's a real sort of sense of fun. There's a message of please have more fun, like bouncing fun, yay, this is great, sort of Two of Pentacles, things are going well, but also they are protecting you hugely. You've got a huge sense of protection, so if anyone hurts you or like goes for you in any way, your kangaroo spirit guide is ready to kick them. There's this real sense of protection, and I get this I'm also getting a message that Archangel Michael is protecting you as well. If you're into archangels, I work with him a lot, and he is a really protective energy. So if you're in need of protection, if you're feeling a bit sort of attacked or vulnerable, do some meditation and try and ask Archangel Michael for help, but also ask your kangaroo for help, because they're ready to take on the battles for you. It's a really lovely message, and it reminds me of Tigger. Why Tigger was a tiger from Winnie the Pooh, I have no idea. He should have been a kangaroo. But it reminds me of that really joyous, bouncy, smiley. I'm smiling saying this because it's just such a lovely energy. So you've got a really dynamic animal spirit guide. They're also really freaking obvious. So if you have any weird things, if things fall over or you heard weird bangings, that will be your kangaroo spirit coming in. And you also might start seeing a lot of kangaroos because there is no subtlety. The previous group had a starfish, and they are incredibly subtle, really sort of calming and healing energy, whereas the kangaroos like want you to know that they're there, for sure. So try and meditate with them because they're really obvious and you should be able to work with them quite easily. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you. I'm going to pull 4, and I'm going to pull one to the left of your kangaroo card, which is about your past, one to the right, which is your future, one above, which is what you're consciously aware of, and one below, which is what you're unconsciously aware of. This is sort of half of a Celtic cross tarot spread if you're interested. Okay, so let's see what you've got. So, what have we got? We have got the Ace of Swords in reverse on the Chariot, which is interesting because we had the Ace of Swords in the first reading as well. So I'm not sure if you're watching more than one. And we've got the Two of Pentacles, which came up in the previous reading. So is there someone watching all 3 of these? But the Ace of Swords and the Two of Pentacles are in reverse. You've got the Chariot in reverse. You've got the Chariot again, but it's reversed in your unconscious. And then you've got all of your clarifiers are reversed, which is interesting, which is exactly that. You do not want to give me the time of day to give you this reading. There's a part of you that's like, no, you're blocking me connecting with you maybe. But you've got the Seven of Swords in reverse. Okay, so your lack of ideas in the past, this sort of not having any options, feeling like just like there's nothing, you're kind of empty, that you're a bit paralyzed, comes from a fear of cheating, of stealing, and of theft. So this could be, if this is a love reading, if you've asked a love question or you're really interested in this, you didn't want to even have fantasize about having a love relationship because you've been cheated on in the past and it really hurts. Or that if it's a career reading, I'm getting a message that you almost didn't even want to have ideas because you didn't want to tread on anyone's toes and kind of inadvertently steal someone else's idea, or you didn't want to succeed at the expense of others. You're actually quite altruistic and kind and compassionate. You didn't want to succeed. You didn't want to have ideas that or like even fantasize about your options because it would feel like a betrayal of some sorts. And I'm getting a message of maybe you've got dependents, maybe you've got children, maybe you've got family who are dependent on you. Maybe there is a sort of a sense of you want to break free from expectations about you, but it would feel like a betrayal to like what your family want you to do. This has come up before in some career readings. If you're a regular watcher, this might be for you, but there's definitely something of like you're doing the wrong job or picking the wrong partner, that but you're not actively not even entertaining the idea of it because your family or your friends or what people would think, and people would see it as a betrayal, or you're really hesitant about doing things. But that was your past, and now you're in this bouncy Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles come up again, but it did come up in a previous reading as well, actually. And you're now in this place of things are going well, things are rolling, you're running with it, the Chariot energy, you're having a really good time in life at the moment. But there's just the fact that this has come up in your past means there's something unresolved here, and I wonder if it's linked to your emotional blocks of why you don't want to open up, is because of this sort of fear of cheating, of betrayal, of you're not letting yourself feel because you're worried about opening the floodgates about something. And then consciously you have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So you're moving very quickly, but you're ignoring new gifts, you're ignoring news, you're ignoring intellectual pursuits, or maybe you started something and went, nah, I'm not into this, and now you're doing something else and it's working out well. But whatever this reversed Ace of Swords was, it was absolutely right to leave it in the past. So if you're sort of feeling regret over an idea that you didn't take, or some news that you didn't listen to, there's a really strong message here saying, no, you're doing the right thing. Like, you're letting yourself go with the Chariot rather than this new idea, this new source of inspiration. And you're correct, because you've got this bouncy, really positive energy going on here. And in the future, you have the Two of Pentacles reverse on the Knight of Cups. So in order to... you're going to hate me. Please don't turn this off. You've got the Two of Pentacles in reverse on the Knight of Cups. So in order to let love in and to meet your Knight in Shining Armour, your Princess in Shining Armour, whoever they are, you're going to have to drop something. You're too busy right now for love, and something's got to give. If you really want love, you have to stop, and you have to put one of the pentacles down. You can't have it all, basically. You can't have a meaningful relationship, because believe it when I say it, like, relationships are really hard work. Like, when you first are kind of dating, I mean, dating's exhausting and on its own, but like when you're in the start of a new great relationship, it is really tiring, just having to be your best self all the time, getting to know someone. Like, it takes a lot of effort, and you can't do that when you're like super hustling, and I feel like you're hustling with work at the moment. And this isn't saying drop it, it's just saying be wary that you can't pursue new love. If you are hustling all the time, you need to kind of be wary that this isn't sustainable for the long term if you want to attract love in your life. And that same message is coming through on that King of Cups. You've got the Chariot again, but in reverse. It's saying you've got to slow down, almost stop, to release these emotions and to attract love in, if you want it. Now, you might not want it yet, so there is no need to kind of start delving in and expressing your emotions if you're happy hustling. But I think for some of you, this is more of a like, start thinking about this now before you're ready for it, just so you can plan how it might work. So how might you go about dating someone whilst hustling? Like, what can you let go of work-wise, but also emotionally? What do you need to open up to? What work do you need to do emotionally to let someone in? And then how might you stop that Chariot just briefly, so that you can kind of do this work. Again though, I don't necessarily think you want this right now. Like, you want it in the future, but it's not like a right now. I think you are so presently in this kangaroo is like so you right now. It's really happy and joyous and fun and bouncy and great. And the Chariot, you're really enjoying yourself. And I wonder if the message for you is, maybe you're kind of wistfully thinking of like, oh, it would be nice to have someone. And the message is, don't think about that right now. Like, just enjoy yourself, enjoy the bouncing, enjoy hustling. Like, love will happen. You'll have to make space for it, but it will happen. And maybe this is, the kangaroo is telling you, like, you need to stick with what you're doing right now because you're experiencing so much joy. Like, I don't think I've ever had a reading where there is so much joy in the present moment, because normally, I mean, if you're seeking out a tarot reader, you'll probably have a question. Maybe things aren't going right. I know that that's how I work personally. When things are going well, I don't pay for readings, but when they're not, I want them. But I've never had a reading that's so joyously in the present. So I think this is just a really lovely piece of advice. And I do think there is something in that King of Cups, this blockage, this not wanting to open up, this kind of fear of, and I know you don't want to hear it, this fear of stopping the chariot, stopping the merry-go-round of life to kind of deal with your emotional stuff. I know there's resistance and blockages here, but this is not forcing you to do it right now. Just do it. Just kind of know that you're going to have to at some point if you want to attract this love in your life, but it doesn't have to be now. Equally with that sort of your previous paralysis about betraying people and cheating and all of this stuff in your past, it feels like that's something that's going to come up, and that will help. You're going to have to address whatever that was, that kind of where you feel like you had no other options and felt all this betrayal, is going to come up when you decide to explore these unconscious, like your King of Cups journey. But it is the King, so you're nearly there. But just be wary that it's going to bring up some stuff in your past when you kind of go through this process and you stop hustling for a bit. You put down one of the pentacles to pursue love. I've got some chakra oracle cards for you as well, and I'm going to see what those say, because these can give quite a lot of clarity on this as well. So let's see. Okay, so the way these work is, I start from the top left and I work clockwise. So grief is linked. This is odd. Grief is linked to the Chariot and the Ace of Swords in reverse. So I wonder if part of the reason why you're hustling and life is so busy is that this is your way of handling something really sad. And this is your way of handling some sort of grief, is to keep yourself busy. Maybe you haven't, and this could be what the reverse Chariot on the King of Cups is, that you're not letting yourself stop because you know that will open the emotional floodgates. And this is just, you're aware of this because this is in your conscious, but it's just a reminder that it's okay to stop sometimes. And a message I have for you is that you've already been through the grief. So it's not gonna hurt as badly as it did. And that's sometimes one of our fears of not exploring grief again, is you don't want to open up to grief and you don't want to heal trauma that comes from grief because it was so painful. But you've already been through that pain. And it is never the same level of pain. It's painful, but it's never the same level as actually going through it. That's my message for you on that. So your speed and your busyness and the kind of rejection of this new thing is coming from some sort of grief. So big hugs about that for you, my loves. And then you've got despondence. So I think you're feeling despondent about love, and despondence came out in this same position. I can't remember which reading, in one of the two previous readings, so check those out, because I think you're feeling despondent about love, and it could be related to the grief of a previous relationship ending through cheating, but you're feeling despondent about love, but you're also despondent about the fact that you don't want to change your lifestyle to let love in, and that's fine. I get that completely. Like I have quite a hustly life, and compromising to let love in and to kind of cohabit with someone and to live your life with someone else is just really, it is frustrating because you do have to compromise on everything, and you're feeling quite despondent about either it's dropping the pentacles to let this love in, it's kind of you don't want to, there's a bit of rebellion here, or you've already done it and you're a bit frustrated. Maybe you're at the start of a new relationship and you're just getting past that honeymoon period and you're feeling a bit like, oh, I've had to give up these pentacles that I love for this relationship, and you're just feeling a bit down about it. But you have completion linked to the King of Cups and the Chariot. So when the thing is completed, when your hustle is completed, you're going to be able to stop and deal with this. This is not something that you have to. So before this card came up, it was kind of a little bit grey about whether this was something you would have to stop yourself and kind of force into your life. No, it'll stop on its own, and this is saying you will complete this cycle. You'll become the King of Cups when you're ready, which is lovely. It's not it will happen. The Chariot will slow down on its own. I mean, the Chariot is sort of, fate is leading it. Fate will give you time to complete this cycle and to heal from whatever this emotional blockage is. And then you've got faith on the 7 of Swords and the 7 of Cups. I've also just realised you have 2 sevens there, so if you're into numerology, that's really significant. But this is about, like, have faith that it's not going to happen again. So this grief that was caused by this hurt and this sort of cheating, betrayal, it could be professionally, it could be romantically, whatever this was, your kangaroo is telling you need to have faith. This isn't going to happen again. I have your back. I'm not going to let this happen to you again. You're being guided. There's a huge sense that you've got not only this kangaroo but lots of other spirit guides really helping you, and they're saying, we've got you. We are ready to fight for you, so you don't have to. And it's such a lovely sense of, like, peacefulness. And also, they're not going to slow the Chariot down. They're not going to force you into this period of, like, emotional turmoil and dealing with your unconscious blockages around love or whatever it is, until you're ready. And then they will take care of you when you are dealing with this and when the Chariot has slowed down. It's such a lovely message, actually, this one in the end. And I know it was frustrating for some of you at the start, but it is, I promise, can you see now? They're like, this is actually a really nice reading. And your present is really good. Like, make the most of the present, because this bouncy, joyful Chariot energy you've got going on is really fun. I'm jealous. Okay, so I'm going to pull one more oracle card for you and see if there's one last message. So this is, instead of praying for any outcome, I pray for the highest good of all. How nice is that? So this is, I think this is a message from your guides specifically. This isn't you saying this. Your guides are saying that they're not here to help you and help you pray or help you find a specific outcome. So they're not helping you find the knight in shining armor. They're just guiding you towards what is for your highest good. They're not gonna, this is exactly what I was saying about protection. They're not gonna let you experience anything that you can't handle, and they are there when things get really tough. And it's just such a beautiful message for you. Oh, I hope this resonated. Please let me know if it did in the comments, but also my email address is there if you don't want to comment publicly. I try to reply to everyone who emails me. If you are interested in sort of more future love readings or career readings or manifestation readings, I'm going to be posting a couple more of those in the next few months, so please subscribe and those will end up in your feed when they are ready for you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have an absolutely magical day. Hello, my lovely pile 4. How are you today? If you picked this pile, you picked Desert Rose. I'm really excited to see what your messages are from your animal guides. I'm really into working with my animal guides, and I find their messages to be actually some of the best that you can get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a tarot card from the Spiritsong tarot. So this is a tarot deck, but each of the cards corresponds to an animal, and that will be the animal that I'm channeling messages for you from. So I'll just pull that card for you now. Okay, so you have the walrus, which corresponds to the 4 of Wands. Now, the 4 of Wands is a really lovely card. The 4 of Wands is a card of success, completion, validation, things going really well. So I think this walrus is here to guide you towards things going really magically for you. On the card, it says comfort and community. So I do wonder if there's a sort of sense of you really wanting to succeed with people. You want, obviously, walrus, I think they're kind of pack animals. So there's obviously a real, like, you get a lot of comfort from working and succeeding with other people, which is just so sweet. The messages I'm getting from this, though, is that your energy, there's a lot of relaxation. You need relaxation. I think they're trying to tell you, you've succeeded, you've done well, you can stop for a bit. So the Four of Wands is, on the traditional tarot, is a kind of is the Four Wands are kind of in a celebratory structure. It's not the very end of sort of the Six of Wands, for example. It's not that things are completely over yet. It's still a four, but you're completing something and you're allowed to rest. There's a real sense of letting you rest, and they're here to kind of, because they're very still creatures on rocks unless they're swimming, and I get this sense of sleeping, of enjoying friendships, of holidays, of resting. So this walrus is here to guide you towards like home comforts, reconnecting with your friends, and also resting. Hugely, you need some sort of stress relief, my loves. Big hugs if you've been working hard and hustling. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull 4 tarot cards for you, and let's see what these say. Okay, so the tarot card to the left, which is the Seven of Swords, which has come up again, this was in the previous reading as well, corresponds to your past. The tarot card at the top is the Queen of Pentacles, and this corresponds to what's conscious for you right now. And then the tarot card to the right is sort of your future, not necessarily predicting your future, but your hopes for the future. And then the tarot card below the walrus is what's unconscious to you and what you need highlighting. So the Seven of Swords has come up again in the past position. So I think you've had some sort of betrayal or a breakup, or you just feel like a slight imposter syndrome of, I'm succeeding and I shouldn't be. So I see the Seven of Swords as saying multiple things. So if you're looking for I love answers in this reading. It could be that you're in your past you were cheated on, which I said previously, but for this one I feel like there's definitely imposter syndrome. You feel like it's kind of, you're taking something you don't earn, but I'm here to tell you that that's false. Like, you're not an imposter. You have earned it. It's not so in this imagery the man is kind of sneaking away with the swords, but what you don't see is kind of what I'm seeing for you in this reading, is that there are like 5 people stood next to him of being like, mate, why are you sneaking off? We gave you the swords, like, we think you deserve the swords. And you're like, no, I must hide, I've stolen these, I don't deserve them, I'm going to creep away. So hugely you've battled with some imposter syndrome in the past, and I think this has made you work exceptionally hard. You could be that you've felt some imposter syndrome or been cheated on in love, and it's made you work very, very, very hard towards your work or your love life. There's something here about really, really diligent working, which is why you're getting this message of, you need to chill. You need to be that walrus lying in the sun on the rock going, you really need a holiday. And bless you, you're not an imposter at all. You really deserve all the accolades that you have. And I can see that you are consciously the Queen of Pentacles right now. So you really are incredibly abundant. You've worked really hard. People are noticing how abundant you are, but you're also really gracious with your abundance, with your success. And this is very material. I love the Queen of Pentacles. It's kind of Empress energy, but a bit more hustly for me. Like, it is about money. It is about career. It's about finances. It's very real world. You could have just bought a house. Like, there's something that, like, you're being very humble and very gracious, but you are really awesome. And I wonder if the imposter syndrome is making you almost a bit too gracious. Maybe you need to be a bit more unashamedly proud. You need to be out and proud, but you're feeling you've obviously finished something. There's something going on, which has been quite hard work, but you're getting the sort of rewards now. You're reaping the rewards, and that's what's really conscious for you right now. And this is lovely. In your future position, you have the Three of Pentacles, which is all about teamwork in work. So I wonder if the reason you felt imposter syndrome is because your achievements came on your own, maybe you didn't work in a team, or maybe you wanted to be more connected to a team. This is weird because this could actually be a reading for me as well. sometimes the piles really resonate, and this one's really resonating for me. But I think maybe in the future you want to work as part of a team, and to overcome your imposter syndrome, actually it would be nice if the pentacles were spread amongst you. It's a very, very giving thing. It's like you kind of, not that you want to sacrifice your success and your abundance and your wealth and your career success, but you want other people to have it as well as you, and that's really lovely in the future. And I think the key to this is resting. The key to this is letting yourself walrus for a bit. And yes, I am using walrus as a verb now. It's got to that point in the day. This is the last reading. But yeah, you've got to let yourself walrus. You've got to let yourself lie on this rock and chill. And then other people will help you to hustle in the future. You'll have a team now. I think maybe you've worked incredibly hard on your own, and because of that hard work, you employ some staff now. Maybe you are able to work with others. It also, if you've just finished like exams or a degree, maybe you've just got your degree and now you're moving on to a job. It feels a bit like that. It feels like, so degrees and like education is incredibly solitary, and it sucks sometimes unless you're doing group work with somebody who doesn't do any work, on the other hand. But it feels like you're going through a kind of transition to something that is more team based, and it's less all on your shoulders, which feels very nice. And then you're unconscious. You've got the 7 of Wands. So this is like, you've exactly what I was saying, unconsciously. I think you're just feeling a bit of battled and bruised. You've been working really hard on this thing on your own, and you've been really like, I feel like you've been treading water, and I don't think you're quite aware of just how much it's taken its toll on you, this sort of battling invisible things. So the 5 of Wands is much more of a balanced battle. There's actual people on this card. They're all fighting each other. Whereas the 7 of Wands is this man is fighting invisible wands, and there's nobody holding them. And that's definitely this sort of solitary battle has really taken its toll on you. But it's unconscious, so you're not quite aware of it yet. And I think you need to kind of open up to the fact that it really did take its toll on you, and it's okay to have a bit of a rest. It's okay to let other people take some of the load off in the future. You're not, and then this relates to the imposter syndrome in the past, is that you haven't just got where you've got by accident. Like, it's not like people are going to find you out. It's okay to take a rest. It's not that you're going to suddenly like take a rest and people are going to go, oh my God, they were a fraud. That's not going to happen. It's actually going to be a really lovely collaborative relationship. I think that might be what you're fearful of with that 7 of Wands, unconsciously, is that actually like you're really, really tired, but you don't want to admit it. So you don't have to deal with your imposter syndrome. I'm going to pull some clarifying tarot cards on this one, although I think this is actually quite a clear message. But let's see what this says. It might not be. Wow, so you've got the 7 of Wands, the 7 of Swords on the 7 of Swords. Okay, there's 2 7s here, by the way. 3 7s here, 777. Wow. So if you're into angel numbers, that's definitely a sign. You've also got 2 4s. Again, this is lots of synchronicities here. This is like divine intervention about rest. You need to rest. So you've got the 7 of Swords again on the 7 of Swords, which just emphasizes, it's kind of, I see it as a little bit of like, Pabby, you're spot on. It's exactly, you're right. I don't need to clarify it. It is imposter syndrome. But you've also got the 4 of Pentacles on the Queen of Pentacles. So I wonder if you're feeling like you've achieved a lot, you've gotten really gracious sort of abundance, and you know what I was saying, you're being too gracious. I think it's leading you to a bit of a scarcity mindset. You almost feel like, well, because I'm an imposter, I can't recreate this success. I can't do this again. Like, I need to hoard all my money because I'm never going to have it again. It feels very sort of extremes. I wonder if you're just being quite hard on yourself because you're so tired. But I always see the 4 of Pentacles as a kind of, you're doing okay, you're doing really well financially, but maybe you could be giving a little bit more. It just feels like you're paranoid and worried about losing and not having enough again, of going back to maybe a time when you maybe didn't have enough. And it's always a sign for me that actually the way to attract more wealth is to give it away sensibly. Don't go and gamble it, but give it away to positive causes, but give it away to yourself. Like, treat yourself. You have worked so hard. You're not an imposter, and you deserve a little bit of a reward. Not hugely, but you deserve a small kind of like pat on the back, like, and just to kind of reset yourself with the universe. And maybe this is that you need to like let yourself rest. You're not letting yourself rest because you're worried about where the money will come if you do rest. And in the future, with this working together, you've got the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands came up in the previous reading as well. So definitely watch that. I think they're quite linked. You might have a kangaroo spirit as well as a walrus, which was the previous one. But the Four of Wands is basically, by working in this team, you're going to get this really beautiful completion. Again, like in your future, you're going to recreate the success you've already had and more. So this is like really reassuring you that actually by working in a team you're going to have more success. You're not an imposter. And I think in your unconscious you've got the Six of Wands, so you really want validation from other people, which makes sense. If you've got imposter syndrome and unconsciously you've been through a bit of a battle, you really need validation to overcome that sort of innate feeling that you're not good enough. But actually what your unconscious is telling you that you've actually had the validation previously. You're just not letting it out. And you're not connecting it with your sort of scarcity mindset when it comes to money. You're feeling like you need to connect this unconscious knowing of, I've worked really hard, look at all this success I've had, and this is validation I'm going to have. You need to connect that with, I can recreate this now. I'm not going to be short of money. I'm no longer an imposter. And this is what the walrus is saying. I think you just need a really take some leave, like weeks of leave, and go on holiday if you can. Obviously it's difficult right now, but even in your house, like, you just need a reset. You're kind of at the end of something professionally, and you just need a bit of a rest. And it's okay to rest. The walrus is here. You've got 3 fours in this, and fours I see as like they're about safety. They're kind of a confirmation of like, you're safe. It's enough. You've done enough. And in the future, like working with people, you're going to do it all again. Wow, you're quite like, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a really good one. Like, if you're like business, you're very good at what you do. Even though you're an imposter. I wish everybody was like really good at what they did and were more imposter syndrome-y, because you always get people in every sort of area of work who are way too confident and are not very good at their job, whereas you're the opposite. You're the reverse of this. You're the person who everybody looks at and goes, wow, they're amazing, and they might even tell you, but you're only absorbing it unconsciously. You're not letting yourself absorb it consciously. So I'm going to pull some chakra cards to clarify this a little bit more. I don't necessarily think we need it, but I'm interested to see what they'll say anyway. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. So I start in the top left-hand corner and I work clockwise. So the card Confusion relates to what's conscious. So the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. Yes, I think you're a bit confused about how you became so successful. I wonder if you're like, I can't recreate this, I'm an imposter. Like, how do I do this again? And you're just feeling a bit confused. Maybe you didn't expect it to go so well. Maybe you didn't expect it to go so well so quickly. But there's definitely an element of, I wonder if you've accumulated wealth and success quite quickly, and you're now like, whoa, where did this come from? And you're kind of like, oh, what do I do? I'm just going to hold on to it and kind of keep myself insular because I just don't understand what I'm supposed to do. So it's very sweet, and it's okay to sort of sit on your money for a bit, just to kind of get a bit of some breathing space for sure. You also have victim in your future with the Three of Pentacles, sorry for the delay there, and the Four of Wands. And I think you're worried about being the victim of some cheating, or you're worried about your imposter syndrome coming back. There's a real victim mentality linked to your imposter syndrome, and you're worried about in the future not being able to reproduce and maybe getting fired. You're really, really worried about being able to recreate it and maybe missing out on success, but and you're kind of maybe worried about connecting with other people just in case they steal from you, just in case. That's not going to happen, I promise. And then you've got a vanity, which links to the unconscious, and it's not vain to be like proud of your accomplishments. There's a real, you're far too humble, you're far too hard on yourself. Like it really isn't vain to sort of acknowledge or accept external validation, or even like sort of to accept within yourself how good you are and how deserving you are of this thing. I'm here to tell you that it's not vain. Vanity it's actually very rare to find people who are truly vain. That's not you. You do not need to be afraid of this anymore. And then you've got impartiality on the imposter syndrome. Yes. So they're saying you are not being impartial about your skills. I feel like there's a finger wagging at you, or what's it, a flipper wagging from the walrus. The walrus is telling you that like you're not an impartial judge of whether you are an imposter or not. Like you're not an imposter. You need to kind of try and step back and see what you've done, see how you've succeeded in your life and in business and your career. And I just realised this is very much a career reading, if you hadn't guessed and you've got to this point. But you need to step back and actually look at what you've done impartially as somebody else. Like imagine you're looking at what somebody else has done, your own achievements, as if it's someone else's. Would you say they're an imposter? No, of course you wouldn't. But you're not being impartial because you're worried about it being vain to be proud. It's not vain to be proud. You are awesome. You've done an incredible amount of work, and I think it's now time to kind of submit to the walrus and just rest and chill and really enjoy this part of your journey. Okay, what I'm going to do finally is I'm going to pull another oracle card for you, which should have one last message. Okay, this says, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. What was I just saying about stepping back and like perceiving it through different eyes? Yeah, I think this is basically like the universe has given you such an amazing gift, and you need to step back to overcome your fear, which in this case is imposter syndrome and being found out. And I think you need to step back and see you and see your achievements through somebody who loves you. So imagine the people who love you the most in your life, maybe even your spirit guides, maybe your walrus. Imagine what they will be thinking of you. They love you so deeply. Imagine what they think of you, and try and see yourself through their eyes, because you are so worthy of all of the praise, of all the accolades. It's not vain. Don't worry, you're not going to fall victim to it again in the future. Like this is you're doing really well, and you have a real sense of stability at the moment. And also in the future, you're going to recreate this again, and you're going to recreate it with other people. So it's going to feel a lot less lonely as well at the same time. Thank you so much, Pile 4. I really hope this has resonated with you. Please let me know if it has in the comments, but also my email address is there as well if you want to contact me. I really love hearing from you. I do have some career readings coming up, so please subscribe as well, and they will appear in your feed. So just keep an eye out for walrus signals. If you see walrus or seals anywhere, or people talk about them, or you see them on TV or in pictures, that's a sign of to remember this reading, and to remember that your walrus is guiding you and is here to support you, and you need to rest. So if you see a walrus, it's a sign you need to chill, you need to have a rest. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, my loves. Goodbye.